needs of man. When food is available and affordable, then there is an end to poverty. One of the factors that aid food production is the weather. And when the right and conducive weather is available during pre-planting, planting and post-planting seasons, there is little or no damage to crops and may reduce soil erosion. Bad weather may also affect the quality of farm produce during storage and transportation. What is the effect of the prevailing weather condition on food production for food security in the country and possible way out? That is our focus on Panorama today, coming to you from Ibadan on the network service of the NTA. But before the discussion segment, we have some reports. I am Kemi Oshin. Thanks for joining us. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of Ghana on his re-election for a second term in office. In a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President also commends the people of Ghana on the successful conclusion of the presidential and parliamentary elections, attesting further that with the right institution and political leadership, constitutional democracy in West Africa's sub-region has come to stay. Noting that Nigeria and Ghana shared close historic and cultural ties, the Nigerian leader wishes President Akufo-Addo a successful new tenure of peace and stability in his country, as well as improved bilateral relations. ECOWAS Election Observation Mission in Ghana has congratulated Ghanaians for protecting the country's democratic credentials at the just concluded presidential and parliamentary elections. Head of the missions and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and her team took that message to President Nana Akufo-Addo. Correspondent Musbah Odan-Wahab reports from Accra.
Beyond electing a new leader and representatives into the parliament, Ghanaians have another regional record to protect: 28 years of unbroken democracy. With the 8th successive election, the country continues to consolidate her democratic rule. Isolated blemishes albeit, the International Election Observation Missions commend voters' turnout, parties' conduct, professionalism of polling officials, and compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols during the electoral processes.
Please come and sit down.
And on this visit to the Jubilee House, ECOWAS Election Observation Mission says Ghana has done well in preserving her democratic credentials.
Now talk to your colleagues so that they can begin to put their processes in place, to respect constitutions, to respect the laws.
The president re-elect says democracy is now a tradition Ghanaians are committed to.
The certification that you have given us, of course, must be something that all Ghanaians must pride themselves on. Fundamentally, the poll itself was made possible by the attitude of our people. And that is what we have to continue to nurture, that attitude and that commitment to democratic engagement is maintained here in Ghana. For my part, whatever it is that I can do to continue to maintain the unity of the nation and to make sure that we go forward into my second mandate as a united people.
President Nana Akufo-Addo begins his second term in office at this Jubilee House, January 7, 2021. In Accra, Ghana, Musbah and Wahab, NT News.
Thank you, Musbah. Nigeria and the Czech Republic have entered into an agreement towards the development of the country's industrial sector. A project implementation committee was inaugurated by the President, represented by the Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Gambari, to effect this memorandum of understanding. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Understanding was initiated by the Nigerian Czech Republic Trade and Investment Council, and the Project Implementation Committee is focusing on technology transfer between Nigeria and the Czech Republic, which has vast amount of technology.
There are 11 thematic areas, looking at agriculture, looking at mining, looking at the issues of MSMEs, and how we can collaborate to enable us get some skills training, so that where we have particular tasks that we're doing with certain machinery, and there are better machinery that could be developed, we'll be able to transfer this knowledge, and then NASENI, using their own staff and the R&D, to be able to adapt these technologies to suit the Nigerian situation.
In the past, Nigeria trained our students in the Czech Republic, and it is believed that with the agreement, more young Nigerians would be trained in the country to meet the needs of the people. One agency known and which mandate and scope of operation is to conduct developmental works in the areas of manufacturing is the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, and it is now saddled with the task of coordinating and ensuring the focus of government is met.
The Czech Republic has offered to fund up to 50% any of their technologies that a private sector in Nigeria is willing, so that they are partners, because there is a market in Nigeria. And one of the criteria will be that it is an area that Nigeria truly needs that technology we are lacking, and the products is needed, and it will be produced in Nigeria. So therefore, it is private sector driven.
The country has up to 2024 to implement the MOU and hitting the ground running early. It is hoped that the focus will be achieved, which is basically to provide opportunities for young Nigerians to get employment and improve the economy, and also to move the Nigeria agenda forward. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NT News.
Incidences of liquefied petroleum gas explosion leading to casualty and loss of property is a source of concern to the House of Representatives. It has therefore resolved to conduct an investigation for sustainable solution. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The resolution was in response to the motion of Representative Benjamin Kalu, which lamented gas cylinders explosion and urged the Department of Petroleum Resources, Standards Organization of Nigeria, the National Orientation Agency and marketers to scale up regulation and sensitization on safe use of liquefied gas.
As stakeholders in the liquefied petroleum gas LPG value chain often point at the failure to enforce standards, failure to clamp down on violators, and failure to prevent siting of gas stations and refuel outlets in residential areas by regulatory bodies.
Other resolutions adopted were on the need to check security breaches at a game reserve in Toro local government area of Bauchi State, as moved by Representative Muda Umar, and the need to monitor the distribution of post-COVID-19 palliatives raised by Representative Dozie Wanko.
That the ugly effects of COVID-19 pandemic are still biting hard on the Nigerian citizens, including civil servants, as normalcy is yet to return.
Thursday's plenary passed for second reading a constitution alteration bill that seeks to eliminate unnecessary delays in administration of justice, sponsored by Representative Onofio Luke. Also passed a second reading is the bill seeking to amend tax laws in Nigeria in relation to federal government's management of finances and public revenue.
Nigeria's economy under the challenging situation, we need to really revisit and review some of our legal frameworks as it affects to our financial management.
In another development, Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity during a briefing reiterated that the invitation to the President is not for investigation but interaction.
We've not gotten any communication from the President saying that I am no more coming. All you have read about has been from unofficial sources.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And still on legislative matters, the maize of the Ogun State House of Assembly has been declared missing. The official symbol of authority of the House was reported stolen by suspected burglars who invaded the Speaker's office on Thursday. Adeni Taiwo completes the report.
The maize was said to have been stolen by suspected burglars who broke into the Speaker's office through the ceiling. The Speaker, Right Honorable Kunle Uluomo, while confirming the incident, expressed shock.
I understand the burglars came in through the ceiling. So the police sent a man to one of the officers to go into the ceiling. And while searching the ceiling, we saw the head of the maize, the coat of arms that was cut off the maize itself. But we did not see the main brass.
It debunked insinuation that the disappearance of the maize was politically motivated, noting that there is unity among members of the House who are now busy with 2021 budget defense exercise.
The fact of the matter is that maize is very expensive, and I think it's made of copper. Probably that is the intention of the evildoers. What we have now is committee session, working on the budget of 2021. So I now believe that before the date we adjourn to, we'll have gotten a replacement.
Security agents, led by Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Edward Ajogun, have visited the house, while investigation has also commenced.
Head of the maize has been recovered, and we are getting some clues about the perpetrators of the incident.
The maize was conspicuously on display last week when the State Governor Prince Dakwa Abiodun laid the 2021 appropriation bill before the House for consideration and passage. Without the maize, the House cannot sit in plenary. From the Ogun State House of Assembly in Abeokuta, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. Panorama continues shortly. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Weather condition is associated with agricultural production, and it is a determining factor for food sufficiency. In this report, Kayode Oladoshu takes a look at the nexus between climatic weather condition and sufficient food production.
Climatic weather condition is a phenomenon that has the potentials of affecting all natural and human systems. At times poses a threat to human development, especially agricultural practices, because of its uncertainty. Primary activity of agriculture depends on atmospheric weather conditions that is largely controlled by temperature, water supply, soil, wind, and other climatic elements. The resultant effect of these conditions often determine the output of farm produce. In Nigeria, the prevailing weather condition is always difficult to determine by farmers to ascertain how favorable it is in any planting season, making it difficult to predict the level of food sufficiency year in, year out.
There are some crops we cannot continue to practice right now. Too much rain, drought. We have abrupt rain this year. And see, 2 or 3 days ago, we started having very heavy rain. Already the maize is already has failed. So it is with experience that we now try and change our mode of agriculture.
As these challenges continue to pose threat to farmers, what should be the recommended course of action in ensuring sufficient food for the nation?
We need to set up irrigation, and it consumes a lot of money. But for now, we are bringing together other farmers, network of farmers, whereby we are able to give them all of those things.
We are living in a period whereby there is a lot of changes, so we actually need a shift from the local practices that we've been doing in Nigeria.
Reliance on products of agricultural-based researches and adhering standard practices among farmers, experts say, are some of the ways to sustain sufficient food production for the nation. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladoshu, NTA News.
And that report leads us into our discussion segment. And our guest on Panorama today is an expert of agricultural extension and rural development. She is Professor Stella Odebode. You are welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much.
We just saw in that report that weather has a lot to do with food production and success of agriculture, especially to the farmers. Now, considering the pattern of rainfall presently this year and the fact that we're having late harmattan, how does that affect products or crops that are expected to be in season by now?
Thank you very much. You know that weather plays a major role in determining the success of agricultural pursuits. It helps to, we can know the quality, good quality crops, or get good quality crops from the kind of weather we have in the year. Okay. For instance, now we have climate change, there's high temperature now, and that temperature will cause heat stress, and that stress will affect food quality, it will affect access to food, it will also affect the fertility of the soil, and so it will decrease the yield of farmers. And so right now, because of the change in the weather, a lot of crops are suffering from stress, and we don't have enough food to produce. The farmers are, of course, crying about farming, because now we don't have sufficient food. People don't have enough access to food. They don't have enough quality of food that will bring a lot of income to the farmers. And so it's a serious challenge that we are facing at this time because of the break, in the weather process of
this year. Okay, so since it's a great challenge, how do you expect farmers to mitigate this in the face of farming experience?
Thank you very much. We advise our farmers usually to have a small farm at the back of their homes where they could actually water, and plant some crops that could be, they could wet, when there is a dry spell. We also encourage big farmers, those who have a big land farmers, to use irrigation system. Sometimes we also give some crops, some seeds to the farmers, so that they could plant and they could withstand the dry season when we have a dry spell. So that one will still help to boost the income of farmers, especially concerning the quality of the food and quality of the yield that they will be getting from the farm. So as an expert, I will advise that farmers should cultivate the habit of watering now at the back. Those ones that we have at the back of, like we call backyard farming.
Okay. That is for smallholder farmers. For
smallholders farmers. And then in my department, Department of Agriculture Extension and Rural Development, we have what we call green your landscape now. Okay. During that time, whatever you have at the back or maybe close to the house, you try to green it, water it, plant resistant crops, that those crops the seeds that can withstand the stress, or the temperature because of the climate change.
Okay, two things quickly from there. You talked about irrigation. How accessible or how affordable is irrigation to the smallholder farmers? And then secondly, you are talking about seeds that are resistant to the weather condition now. How do we ensure that these seeds are available for farmers? How available are they?
Yeah, thank you very much. At least we make use of extension experts to try to educate farmers at this time. As an extension expert, we advise farmers to either, they have wash bowls close to their house, or maybe we have this well, which we could actually take some water from the well and then you use the sprayer to spray. That one is very cost effective. And then the irrigation, that will be for big time farmers, those who cannot afford this big irrigation system because of lack of fund. We could use sprayers to spray. We could use a stream close to the house to water so that they would be able to sustain.
I'm talking about the seeds.
And then the seed, we give seed-resistant crops to the farmers through the extension services.
Okay, finally, I would like you to just give a word of advice to our farmers at a time like this.
Thank you.
Sorry, we may not be able to go on. We've been talking to Professor Stella Odebode on the relationship between the weather condition and food productivity. Once again, I say thanks for coming on Panorama. And at this point, we'll take another break. When we come back, Panorama continues. Welcome back. And now to sports. Just 2 weeks after the passing of Diego Maradona,